Hey guys, Barry here. Very exciting episode of the podcast. Every quarter, I get some of my best performing members to share what's working now. And there's a hell of an episode coming up. In this episode, we're going to talk about somebody who has set up a machine that allows her to convert cold traffic at a 50% conversion rate. In addition to that, this kind also shows how she leverages other people's audiences to build her business at zero cost. In addition, there's a gentleman who has figured out a way to be able to charge thousands of pounds for a service that his competitors give away for free. And in addition, how one of our members built a 7-figure side business that was created out of his unqualified leads. All that and more in this episode of What's Working Now.
I feel like we're spending a lot of time together recently with this skills day as well, Suzanne. So, for those that don't know, please tell us briefly about yourself and your business.
So I'm a lawyer. I used to be a mergers and acquisitions lawyer working at the world's largest law firm. And then I saw the light and, I realised that if I wanted to have a family, working 16-hour days was not compatible with that. So I set up my own practice 13 years ago, just when I was pregnant with my eldest. And I focused on helping very small businesses. I'd helped the very big businesses. I'd helped hedge funds and private equity funds make lots more money. And I really felt that I wanted to help the small businesses. So quickly I became, in the words of Daniel Priestley, oversubscribed. I was working longer hours than I had done in the city, but for significantly less pay, whilst juggling a newborn. I thought something's got to change. So I decided to move quite quickly to a one-to-many model and introduced memberships with templates, training videos, etc. And very quickly, my job became more marketing than lawyering, which I was very happy about. I actually prefer the marketing side to certainly the technical legal side of drafting documents. So we've built it up over that time. We've recently, in the past 2.5 years, introduced a membership where people get access to me, which we're managing to scale now by carefully structuring the way that they do that. It's very low cost. It's like our lowest level membership is £47 a month, and they get direct access to me to ask individual questions to. We've got about 530 members in that system, but we've got many thousands of active members that have bought our templates, trainings, programs, etc. That's what I do.
Well, I love it, and I definitely want to dive deep because there's many service-driven businesses in here, but this is such a great example, Suzanne, of if you look at the average lawyer, they say it's an industry where it's absolutely a time for money industry. Great, this is my rate, great, we'll charge you for whatever type of law it is. It's like you're just going to pay this rate, and you go to the firm, you pay this rate, you pay more for the more experienced, more senior people. You've also got an industry which is top of the list from likely to be disrupted
by AI. AI. It was second on the list.
Oh, second, what was top?
I can't remember now. I should have paid more attention. I was lasered in on the legal being number two.
So we're highly likely to be disrupted. And yet, so you've gone, to my knowledge, I'm not aware, I'm sure they exist, but I'm not aware of anybody else legally that has gone down the path that you've gone one to many and made a success of it. You've got an extremely profitable business, but also enjoyable. So tell me about how did you, the challenge with small price membership models, membership sites, everyone likes the concept of the recurring revenue on an ongoing basis, but you've got to get enough critical mass for it to make sense. So what was your mindset when you started on the journey? Did you just go, no, I appreciate, the first month that I do content, I might be doing it for 3 members, and that becomes like I'm working for less than minimum wage? Or was it that you had a plan to reach critical mass quickly? How did you approach that side of things?
Yeah, I think we had a couple of hundred members on our first launch because we had such a big audience from everything else that we'd done. So I certainly wasn't speaking to 3 people or, doing a whole membership delivery for 3 people. I think, we sort of kicked off with about 200 and have grown it probably less speedily than we would otherwise if we did focused entirely on that. But we did a lot of launches last year that were very profitable. Well, actually, that's not quite true. They were very, they turned over a lot, but when I looked at my expenses, it wasn't quite as profitable as I'd have thought. But this year, with thanks to Board of Advisors, we've really focused on putting in place recurring activities, because the launches were very much one-off content. We had a lot of affiliate involvement as well, so it was all non-repeatable in a way. So we've really sort of stripped it back and thought, okay, what systems can we put in place so that I just literally need to turn up for an hour to do a sales webinar, and then the delivery on the legal side, because I do a surgery a week and a training a week, so it's not massively time intensive. But my team now we've got everything systemised so that everything is in place. We do 2 webinars a month on the sales side. All the delivery is really systemised as well, and the beauty of it is it's totally repeatable. So we've stripped away the launches, which has led to a revenue decrease in the short term, but our aim is to ramp up the membership side and then really look at the Ascension part of it as well, which I don't think we've nailed at the moment, because you're absolutely right that with a low-cost membership, we're paying about £15 a lead on Facebook ads at the moment, and our average lifetime value is about 560 quid. And our conversion rates are good, but there's not a massive margin at the moment. And as we grow, I'm likely to have to bring in another lawyer. They're expensive. So I really do need to keep an eye to the ascension of, what's the £2,000 programme that's going to really, help the profit margin.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? And we talk often here, Darren, about the 6 different areas of business. And you've already said, Suzanne, obviously the product is in terms of the knowledge, the service that's provided. And it's phenomenal. Because if you think about it, the surgeries, so people are effectively dropping in and they're getting access to you, which is, I don't know what your hourly rate was when you were in the city, but it's going to be...
Well, if I was still in that firm now, it'd probably be about £1,500 to £2,000 an hour.
Right, so £2,000 an hour, I love it. And yet they can get access to this for kind of £50 a month. Now, it's not the same, but there's a lot of a disproportionately large part of that value can be extracted, so it's attractive for members to come, but also for them to stick. But there's always a trade-off, right, Jensen? There's always a trade-off, like whatever business model that you're doing. And then for this to work, if you're charging £1,500 an hour, you're in the time for money trap, but you only need so many clients and you can make a certain amount of income. Whereas if you've got a lot of members at a lower price, you've got to get a lot more members, which means the trade-off is you've got to upskill.
And plus I'd have to be working in the city, working with hedge fund. So my charge out, I still do consultancy and I charge £500 an hour. So I suppose that's the kind of comparison, yeah.
Yes. And so the trade-off by doing the model which is more scalable is that you've got to do the marketing. So you do adverts into a webinar, and then the webinar you're presumably directing them to a web page to sign up for the membership.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
And what and in recent times, you're alluding to, you were doing launches, so it was that were kind of one-off events, which were time for money, but they were at least leveraged.
Yes.
You do a successful launch, you can get a lot of members
Yeah.
in one go, and now you're tweaking it so the webinars are they going to be automated? Are they?
Yep. Yeah. So we've done 8 of the same webinar, and we will use the best converting one and turn that into an auto webinar. So we're at the start of that journey. But the conversion rates have been great. The last one we did, so it's to cold traffic, and we got a 50% conversion rate.
Wow. 50% conversion rate to cold traffic. If for those that haven't done the webinar space, it's basically unheard of. Yeah, I think my exact remark at the Board of Advisors is I've never seen numbers.
Yeah, so the last 8 we've got between 30 and 50% conversion rate to cold traffic, which is really good.
But it's amazing, because that's about the lesson in here. That's what words in your mouth, Suzanne, is how do you build a machine? How do you build a machine where you spend the money on the ads that drives them into a system that gets the conversion rate, and then you're going to go, we're spending this isn't exactly what Suzanne meant, but spending £15 or it costs us £50 to get a customer who spends £500 over time. They spend £50 a month and they stick for 10 months or whatever your
12.
Mathematics.
Minimum of 12.
Minimum 12. I was
Yeah.
in my head. I was just dividing 500 by 10.
Yeah.
But whatever the mathematics work out, and you go great. And then can we turn up that system? And that's when you've got leverage. So, what would you say to somebody in this room, Suzanne, who is feels stuck in a service-driven business where they are still trading time for money? What suggestions would you give them to us to what to think about or how to approach transitioning to a one-to-many
Yeah,
model?
so I'd been thinking about doing it for quite a while before I actually did it, and what I found was it was very hard to carve out the time to create the thing because it's very hard to turn away very well-paid consultancy work. So I was just too busy. I kept, the consultancy work was coming in, you don't want to turn it down, so I didn't have a chunk of time to write my templates and do my videos, and that was the initial phase of my membership, if you like. And so I just decided to be bold and sell it before I'd created it. So obviously I'd mapped it out exactly what I wanted to include, but I did a webinar. I think we got about a 60% conversion rate on that, but I did give them an amazing lifetime deal because it hadn't been built yet. And I was really clear, and I said, okay, it's going to be delivered in an 8-week phase. And I completely underestimated how long everything would take me. But because I'd given them such a great deal, they were very forgiving. I said, look, I'm not going to get these videos done. I had to get in a professional videographer because I just couldn't really do it myself. And they were very forgiving. They gave me amazing testimonials and feedback. That was, again, part of the lifetime deal. I said, look, it's all new. I'm giving you this amazing deal, but I want my assistant to sit down with you and talk about, what you like, what we can improve, get some testimonials, etc. And that just held my feet to the fire in terms of actually delivering, because obviously once you've sold, you've then got to actually make the time to do it. So I found that was the biggest challenge for me, is turning down that well-paid consultancy work when you're probably not going to make exactly the same amount initially because you're building it up, but I had my eye on the long-term goal. And just once you've sold something, you've obviously, your reputation's on the line, you've got to deliver it. And that's how it got me started. And then really I looked at quick ways of leveraging other people's audiences. So I think I might have talk to you at that point in time. Actually, I think you promoted it for me. So I was quite well networked, and I had about 30 people who I reached out to and said, look, here's what I'm doing. I'll give you lifetime access. Can I, do effectively an affiliate launch with you? Most of those people said yes. And so again, with that membership, we quickly got the numbers up because I leveraged other people's audiences. I didn't do any paid traffic for quite a while.
Great. So you leverage connections, and there's a lesson for everybody here. It might not take the exact same form, Jacqueline, but joint ventures or strategic partnerships, and whether that be a paid, hey, Phil, we'll split the revenue, or you somehow get financially incentivized, or purely just a, hey,
I didn't give them any revenue. I just said, I'll give you lifetime access to my thing. And they were like, yeah.
Okay, great. So there was no revenue share. It was just a value
super
trade.
simple, yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, first of all, give Suzanne a round of applause. And then questions, thoughts, comments. Are you going to have to shout out?
Oh, no, we need the mic for the Zoom people here.
I know, but because we're going to have to throw it back.
Just repeat the questions. It's a quick one.
Yeah, go for it.
What made you choose £47 a month? It seems low.
Yeah.
£47 a month seems low.
It's a great question, and one that I ask myself every single day. So I think that's why our conversion rates. So our standard price is 97, and then we do a webinar special offer for half price if they sign up within 72 hours. Because with selling legal services, a lot of people leave it until they've got a legal problem, and we're all about trying to educate small business owners to be more proactive about things. So we know that if we don't give them a real no-brainer offer and a limited time period in which to act, they will defer it until they have a legal problem. So So that's why we do it, and we're going to test the pricing, and we probably will put it up, because with those conversion rates, we've got obviously room to push it a bit. So yeah, that's the answer really. It makes it a very compelling offer, and you know, and also it's you know, even if it's priced in a way that, you know, it's not like a typical content membership where we're expecting them to consume content every month to get their value. It's priced so that even if they use it once or twice a year, they're still getting their value. It's just a payment plan over 12 months.
And they're in for 12 months? They're locked in?
Yeah, they're locked in for 12 months, yeah.
Yeah, because in a sense, the way I think about it is it's almost like an insurance policy.
Yeah, but much better.
Yeah, much better. Yeah. It's funny. I definitely. I know there's a difference between the membership and the templates, but simplistically, I remember after doing the joint venture, it was a year or two later, and then something happened. I don't remember what the specific something was. I was like, oh, damn it, I need that, and I'm like, oh, I've got a template for that. Logged in, found the template. I'm like, brilliant, fill in the gaps, done. And that was a perfect example of that. I love it. Yeah. Good. Other questions, thoughts, comments? Jay. All right, we'll listen to Joe because he was very unhappy. He was having a little stroke on the stairs when he didn't.
Yeah, very interesting. If you don't mind me asking, what percentage of your revenue is the membership and what percentage is still your consulting, just so I get a picture of what that looks like and how much time goes into each?
So I did cut down my consultancy work pretty much completely whilst we were putting it into place, and only recently I've ramped it up again. So I would say probably 80% was membership, 20% was consultancy, but now we've got systems and team in place more on the membership side. I can now do more on the more high level consultancy. So it's kind of probably more like 70-30 now, 70 membership, 30 consulting, maybe 65-35, something like that.
And this is where it gets nuanced. I mean, just for other people that are thinking about this, 2 points I want to make. One is, you and I have, well, we've not tussled, but we definitely have slightly different perspectives on how you would weight it and how you would change it, and it's a personal preference down to, well, how much time do you want to spend doing the consultancy, right? Like, is this a stepping stone to get consultancy clients, or is it no, I want this to stand alone? And the other variable, just going back to the previous question, David, is the thing is about the monthly price. It's not. It's how the monthly price interacts with how long they stick for, right? Because it's about how much the members stay. Because if the price was to be doubled, and it was to drop the double the cancellation rate, how they stick for half as long, your net got the same revenue. Whereas, but if the price went up by 10% and it has no impact on churn, it's not the fact that it goes up by £5 a month, but if they stick around for, 24 months, it's at least 12, right?
We have a very low, even after the 12 month, because they roll on after the 12 months, we have a very low cancellation rate. Right,
which supports the argument for why price testing, there probably is quite a lot of margin to go. But you've got to think about these things as a business owner. So you're going to go, okay, the membership, the price, it's not how much they pay per month, it's actually seeing how that affects the lifetime value versus the marketing spend, lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. But then also thinking, well, yeah, but the more members I've got, the more I could potentially ascend into the consultancy, assuming that I wanted it, right? So very good. Good. Time for one final question, or we got two. I'll pass it to Ashley, and then depending on how quick the question is, you may or may not.
Three mini questions. I'll be quick. How clear were you on the build of the course? How long did it take after you sold it? And how big was your audience to convert 200 on that first launch?
Oh, good questions.
So on the first launch of this membership, 50,000 across everything. I think so. At that time, we probably did have about 50,000 on our list, but not everyone was engaged by far. Okay. Can't tell you the exact numbers on that. Social media, got a group that's got about 35,000 in. So yeah, but engaged, I'd say probably 10,000.
Okay.
And just to be explicit, is that engaged that opted into your database, or that was the combined databases of the joint venture partners?
Well, so this is the launch of my most recent membership, the £47 one. By that point, I'd been doing my templates and other things for 10 to 11 years.
Yes.
So my own database, which was, I suppose, I have done joint venture launches throughout that 10 years. So it was a mixture of my own paid ads by that time and joint venture promotions.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and we only did one very small promo at the start to get the 200. We probably could have pushed that more, actually. And what was the other question?
Just clarity of what it looks like and how long
it
took to build.
So the membership isn't actually a course. We do throw in a sort of 8-week email course, which I created a long time ago, and that, in fact, that was the very first iteration of when I did my very, very first 10 years ago with lifetime membership. That was the 8-week delivery.
Okay.
And it was like, here's the 8 issues that you need to think about as a small business owner. Number 1, like, look at your business structure. Number 2, think about protecting your IP. Number 3, think about your contracts. We give them that. We've kind of refined it over the years, but that didn't take very long at all. But then I've got a program that is in a modular format, and that it depends how fancy you want to be with it. We're now we're migrating to a new membership site, which will be much more user-friendly. My existing site's 10 years old now, so it definitely needs a bit of a rework. But we also use Searchy, which is really great for... we put everything on Searchy now because it's got really good keyword search, and they have hubs. So rather than a membership site, you can use that, and that lays it out in a really... Searchy. It's about... I can't remember. I think we pay about £100 a month for that. But yeah, so, I mean, the answer is... It doesn't have to be that long. I wouldn't build it up into, something that's going to take weeks and months, because you can keep it quite simple, and there's software there that makes it super easy now.
Very good.
Yeah.
Final question. I'm just going to...
We're all relieved it's you.
We're
relieved it's you and not us.
I just want to point out the irony, Topher, in not throwing the catch box and knocked over a bottle of water. Strange, isn't it?
Thank you. I'm very proud to be a lifetime member from that early deal. Yes, get in. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm really interested to hear about your webinars and how, like you said, you've got between 30 and 50% conversion. So it's a really tactical question. And over 8, you found what works. So I just wondered if you could give us some kind of, high-level insights as to what has led to, the better versus the still very good 30% conversion. We'll try not to knock over water now.
It's kind of like an obstacle course. You've got to overcome the water and the glass.
We've tested different times, different dates, like lunchtime, evening, things like that. That doesn't seem to have an impact. What I have found, because we do two a month, 2 live ones a month, and this month there was a big contrast. So our one I did earlier in the month had about a 30% conversion. One I did after that had 50%, and the difference was I found my engagement with the audience.
Oh, really?
The first one, I felt shit. It was the first day of my period, and I just was not having it. And I literally just did it. It was okay, but no, it engaged. Looking at, so I have the chat on. I'm looking at the chat. I'm giving shout outs to people. Those people always buy, right? The people that I've personally called out and said, "Oh, Francis, that's amazing that you're doing that," or whatever, 10 times likely to buy. Really interesting, actually. So yeah, more engagement, which is a real challenge for me because I want to try and get as much legal content in as I can. I'm a real educator and I want to share all my knowledge in an hour, which I know is impossible, but I try and cram as much in. So actually I have to really train myself to find that right balance between delivering real value on the content side, but really still engaging with them and keeping it, really high energy and inspiring them, enthusing them. Getting them to, because we thought with this testing that with it just being an hour webinar to cold traffic, it wouldn't be enough time to to build up the rapport and relationship and actually get the sale. So we were I think, and also that's why the no-brainer offer helps as well with the low pricing, because I think maybe if it's a bit higher, you'd need more face time with them before they actually did that. We also get in previous members to do a sort of 2-minute, 5 to 5 minute interview that really helps as well on the social proof side, obviously. And we've got tons of testimonials on our registration page. And then, yeah, I think the time period helps. So the 72 hours, obviously we have follow-up emails that are quite compelling as well. Lots of video testimonials, tons of social proof, case studies of how we've helped our members, you know, all of that kind of stuff that you would expect. But yeah, if I was really surprised actually when I thought about it, just the engagement on the actual webinar and speaking directly to people made a massive difference.
Interesting. I love it. Give it up for Suzanne Dibble.
Can you send a link to your company name? Because I can totally circulate something.
Yeah, we'll share that with you. No problem whatsoever. Very good. Very good. And finally, please give it up for Barry Randall. Just as Barry's taking a seat, just to support Suzanne's last comment about engagement, Topher's favourite topic, if you hadn't figured it out, is surveys. And there's an interesting survey we've noticed in this programme is we've seen, it's quite a hit to your ego, but to support Suzanne's comment, I've noticed that the less I talk, the happier you lot are. So specifically, whenever we did, the longer the exercises, the more masterminding, the more time. And after the fact, it's kind of obvious. So I noticed some time ago that there was no correlation with how good I thought my content was. Didn't correlate. Sometimes it was good and you thought it was good. Sometimes it was good, you thought it was bad. Or the inverse is true. I didn't think it was good and you loved it. I didn't think it was good and you... There was no correlation. But then gradually I figured out that actually the more you're doing the work yourselves, right? So you're engaging with each other in this example, slightly different than the webinar, the higher the feedback score. So that's just an interesting observation, right? In other words, I'll speak for myself, I won't project on you, but I tend to think it's about me when it's not. The client only thinks, thinking about themselves, right? So sometimes that's a little bit of a mental shift. Anyway, Barry.
Hello.
Welcome. So for those that don't know, it's for the Zoom, so it doesn't come through the speakers in here. For those that don't know, tell us about your businesses.
Yeah, my name is Barry Randall. I run a business called the Garden Design Company. We design and build gardens for homeowners. Was regionally Leicestershire, kind of Warwickshire area. And this year we've decided to scale that nationally. There's a reason behind that. Spiritually, we're also trying to save homeowners from working with hairy-arse contractors, and we've decided to set up a business development approved contractor scheme. So yeah, that's me. There's lots of other things going on, but I won't bore you with all of the details.
So give it a little bit more context, because by the way, the pictures, you've got to check out Barry's site. The pictures on your website of some of the gardens you do are absolutely spectacular. But similar to Mike, give us a size for the scope, context, size of project, because you're not doing commercial, really. You're doing residential. Mm-hmm. What are the price points for the work that you do?
We don't really take on any projects below 50,000. Mm-hmm. So anywhere from 50,000 to 500, 600,000 for a garden.
600,000 on a garden. That's a big. It is a big ass garden, Jay. Good. So tell us, the recent times have been extremely profitable. The business has grown, multiplied, and I know that this particular recent quarter has had a significant shift. So there's a lot of things that we could dive into, but perhaps take us back. Take us back to what was an inflection point or a significant time in the business when you realised you had the epiphany of like, all right, this could really work, or this could really scale at a national level, because you're now helping with your approved contractor team. You're now helping other people that were doing what you were doing, and most of them are single, typically men, single man with a van type job. So it's not really a business; it's a job, and yet you've now scaled it into. Give us a context for annual revenues, headcount of staff.
I'm not sure of the headcount of staff. Do you want to help me out with that, Sue? About 30 people. Revenues about 3 million. Yeah,
in terms of when did I feel? I think it was kind of what Suzanne said already about marketing, really, and learning about direct response marketing and thinking. I wrote an ad like years ago after attending a Dan Kennedy event and drinking the Kool-Aid, as they say. And
Dan Kennedy, for those who don't, who knows who Dan Kennedy is? Show hands. Okay, most of the room. So, kind of they call him the godfather of direct response marketing, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I just started to get into writing better adverts and Google ads and all of that jazz that most people weren't doing, particularly in our industry. Started reading things like Paddy Lund's Critical Non-Essentials and focusing in on the key things and why clients buy from us, the emotion versus the logic and all of that stuff. And then realised that, you know, it works. So I'm one of these people that hears something and then implement it. You know, I don't overthink it, just go and get it done.
Barry is one of my favourite clients. For if we have a experienced board of advisors as well, we'll have a board of advisors meeting, and like something will be discussed in this session. And normally, the next day, I get a WhatsApp from Barry saying, "Oh yeah, I've done that. Yeah, like I've let that person go, or I've hired this, or I've done this, or I've ad placed." So yeah, speedy implementer.
Yeah, well, it might be naivety, but it works, you know. So. Yeah, and then I decided I went to a mastermind. So obviously the next progression from attending a seminar is to join a mastermind. I was told by someone, if you want to be an authority in your space, you need to write a book. So I did, and another one, and another one, and another one. And went out, got a few clients. First of all, just my brother's friend. He was paying, well, I was doing it for free to start with. And my wife said to me, you should charge for that. He's making money and you're not making anything from it. So I ended up charging a little, like £500 a month or whatever. Before I knew it, I had like 10 or 12 clients doing one-to-one mentoring in the landscaping space. And then it started drifting into...
And this is all people that were basically paying for your advice on how to grow it, the way that you've been able to grow your own stuff by using direct response.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, just everything really, like... How do I, you know, get rid of someone who's not working out? How do I bring someone in who I need? When should I bring someone in? So all of that general business advice thing. So ended up getting paid quite a bit for learning the ropes, really. I was never a business mentor, just kind of fell on my feet a little bit. And then over time just decided that, you know, we should create a program where, what my thought on it was, Ross is here. Ross is a you know, kind of general manager for the business. He's going to do a team meeting anyway. Why don't we do a team meeting with clients on it? Like create that team meeting thing, things that they don't even understand, HR, finances. So we do like a weekly call. And then this year, well, back end of last year specifically, I knew that this year was going to be tough economically for the gardens. Our average value sales dropped from 210,000 last year to 50,000 this year. So I kind of felt, so we're selling 4 times as much just to keep the doors open. So I figured that if it's going to get hard, and let's say we lose 75% of the sales that we were getting, so we need, for argument's sake, 10 designs in Leicestershire to keep the business going. If I open that up nationally, we only need 1 in 10 different regions rather than 10 in 1 region. So it's a de-risking.
Yeah, so let me just pause there just to make sure everybody's following along, because this is not about Barry's business, it's about your business, and there's a really interesting nuance here. What Barry's and his team have done is fascinating from a business. This is a business model conversation, and where's the money made, and where's the scalability. So just to insert a piece that I know your board of advisors members know, but some of the other guys here might not. What's the process? Because there's actually effectively a couple of component parts for somebody to get the garden done. Talk about the process. There's obviously the build, but there's the stage before that. And
yeah, so we've got a product, we've got a service, and then we've got a monthly recurring revenue or a subscription part to the business. So the product is the design. And I guess that's where the IP is. Most garden designers would go around, visit a client, measure up something, go away, put a proposal together. We created a process where we sell that design over the phone before anyone goes to see the client, which means that we could do that basically anywhere in the country.
And just before we get to the price point, because by the way, I'm really emphasising this because it's kind of obvious to Barry now, but this is profound for some people on here. Most people in the industry, so the industry norm is, oh yeah, I want to get my garden done. Oh yeah, come round. Oh yeah, what are your ideas? Oh, okay, give me a quote, give me a proposal. They do all the work, they give a proposal, and there's no charge. And they do all that work to try and persuade somebody to say, yep, okay, great, come in, put in all the patios, sink the hot tub, all the things that they might want. They do all that to try and win the work. And the shift here, which is genius, is Barry's gone, okay, over the phone, up front, we sell the design process on its own. So there's an initial first sale, right? And if you just think about it logically, if you've paid for the design, and so now given the price point, so bear in mind, most people do this for free. How much are you charging for the designs, Barry?
Between 1,800 and 6,000.
Yeah, between 1,800 and 6,000. And so the margin on that is strong. But if you were getting some quotes for your garden and, who's your loyalty to? If you had 2 free quotes and one quote design that you paid £1,800 for, like, where probably are you going to lean towards spending your money? Right? So like, this is brilliant, but like, how did this come about? Because I would imagine a lot of people, some people in this room are doing the equivalent of the design stage for free. Mm-hmm. There must be fear of going, well, everybody gives it for free. How the hell can I charge a multi-thousand-pound fee for what everybody else is giving away?
It's funny, the first time I ever did this was, I charged £99. And it was just a qualifier. I'd just been listening to stuff around qualifying. So I just charged £99 and the homeowner said yes. And I got in my vehicle, I was like, yeah, get in there. And then over time, it's just, well, let's try £297 and £497 and £1,000 and £1,800. And then once we were selling them over the phone for £3,000, I was like, well, we were selling on Zoom for £3,000. So that we could cut out all of the wasted time, basically.
Yes, you'd have to travel to the property.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we don't need so many salespeople and whatever. And I was like, so let's try it on the phone. So we tried it over the phone, and they sold for £3,000. I was like, let's try 6. We tried 6, and that works as well. So, but yeah, I mean, we get the conversion rate's probably like, I mean, at best, 15% of inquiries would convert into a sale, but 85% of our time saved. It's a classic 80-20 principle. The great thing is, with what I did a couple of years ago, is we had 88% wastage basically in leads. So we set up a smaller company that serviced the leads below 50 grand.
So and that just to be clear, 88% weightage, i.e. 12% are buying, or 88% aren't buying.
Yeah.
And presumably one of the largest reasons is price point. They're not.
Yeah. Well, we would say, an average garden's 50 grand. You're interested in moving forward with a design, they would say no. But there'll be a percentage of those that were around, we was thinking 30. Well, we don't want a 30k project because it's too small. So they was just kind of going into the ether. So I was working with my brother. I said, well, you might as well run that.
So you started another business to service the different client base. The leads that were not qualified for the first business were qualified for the second business.
And that did 7 figures in the first year with leads that were just doing nothing.
All right, so just stop right there. So there's a lesson for everybody in this room. So Barry built a multi-7-figure profitable business for a particular avatar at the high-end price point. And yet he's already paid for the leads, of which 88% are wasted. And a lot of business owners wouldn't Think about it. They just go, oh yeah, we've got 12% conversion rate. Yeah, we're making money, we're making sell. How can we get 12% to being 14%? How can we increase that conversion rate? And that's a perfectly valid perspective. But what Barry did, which is fascinating, Chris, is he's gone, okay, how else can we utilize these if they're not qualified? So they're not our customer, but they are interested in having the work done. They just don't meet our particular criteria set. And then so effectively those leads go into it was set up as a different business, and it doesn't have to be done that way, but effectively offered a lower price product, in this case via a different company, and then 7 figures in revenue came straight off that in the first year. And the leads have already been paid for. So the question to think about is, like, where are underutilized assets in your business? Unconverted leads is just one, but it's one that's often significantly overlooked. Very nice. So, but tell us, because Barry's not done. When Barry only joined Bud Advisors earlier this year, and when he shared with his group how he saw it scaling, that was another very unique twist on a business model. Reached a conclusion that most people wouldn't have come to. So, can you talk about how you saw it scaling nationally?
Yeah, so the design fee part is obviously really predictable. We can measure the profit margin on it. We've got quite a high overhead in design. So our aim was to increase design fees, but open up to different regions around the country as well, and actually test where those kind of goldmine areas might well be.
Because at the moment you're based in the Midlands, Leicestershire.
Yeah, Leicestershire, kind of just on the edge of Leicestershire, Derbyshire, anywhere that's right on the edge of Leicestershire in these areas.
And the reason why is there's a presupposed geographical constraint, because of course where the people that are doing the work, the installers, the builders, they're all geographically, so there's going to be a radius from a central hub, right? And not many people think to uncouple that. All right. So what was your conclusion?
So we tested selling design only, which was fine, but obviously the client who bought the design is looking for a build.
Yeah,
right. We couldn't offer that.
If you spend $6,000 on a design,
yeah,
I would imagine a reasonably high proportion of those. Actually, I should ask you the question: what proportion do say, "Yeah, I want the build"?
Yeah, a large percent, probably again the 80-20 principle. Whether we get the build or not is a different thing. So we tweak the scripting to basically say the landscaping part is between X and X, but you don't have to have us build the garden, basically. So we thought we could scale the design part, but we would need some contractors locally that could service those designs. So I came up with the idea of, well, we'll create a business development sort of approved contractor scheme. They'll pay into it. We'll use the money for the marketing. We'll get the leads, sell the design, and then take a percentage of the build sale.
So forgive me, let me just pause you again to make sure everybody follows. So I'll explain it for Barry, and you don't have to do it this way, but it's a really fascinating way of thinking about it. He went, okay, so Barry's built a machine, the marketing to sell the design fees, which they make money on. But then, of course, you end up with a customer who, a good proportion, then wants to do the build. But the problem is, Barry's in Leicestershire, not on the south coast in Dorset, for example. It's like, well, it's a long way to move all the contractors to do all the delivery. So he went, okay, I can make money on the design fee, but then I've got, in the same way I was wasting leads, and I can monetize that via the business with my brother now. If I get the design fees, but I don't do the build work, I'm wasting lost opportunity. So what I want is contractors to do the work, and I'll get paid a commission, effectively, for doing the work of getting that £100,000 job sold. I'll get a commission for that. But actually, how can I make it even better? I can get the contractors to join our approved scheme and the process that they go through of training of being approved, so they get paid. And that also provides the money to spend on the marketing to get the design fees, which they profit from, to then sell the jobs, to then give to the contractors, who then pay a commission back. Don't know about you, but I think that's pretty darn brilliant. So first of all, give Barry a round of applause. So I'm being nudged that well, we're out of time, but I want to take a couple of quick questions. What questions do you have for Barry? I think the lesson here is that I see is how do you tweak, change your business model? How the different lenses through which you can look to monetize it more effectively. So, any thoughts, comments, questions, musings?
Just quickly to clarify, so what's the percentage in business between design and then build at the moment?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Is it what, I think the question is it what percentage of your revenue comes from design
versus build? Yeah.
It's actually not the right question, because the margin on design is different than the margin on build. I mean, you can answer the question, but
yeah.
It's gross profit.
10x more on build than design. But a design might be $3,000, but the build might be 200.
Yeah.
Off of that design.
And your 30 staff, are they landscapers or are they all designers?
It's about 50-50 office based and site based.
50-50 split with a sway towards office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably more overhead staff, if you like.
Okay. So the contractor network that you're building, how new is that or how old?
November, about November.
Still quite new, yeah. Just wondering if you could share some of like the obstacles that you faced with that. I've got a similar sort of model with electricians, mechanical engineers and plumbers. But I've got a small team, but there's an opportunity in my business to grow that. I'm not an electrician, I'm not a mechanical engineer or plumber, so I guess there's a little bit of fear sometimes of how do you control that at scale. I just wondered if you had a few insights or lessons learnt so far.
Charge them $2,000 a month to be in your program.
Okay.
Because then you can control the quality.
Yeah.
So we make sure that that they understand their numbers and things like that, so that they're a good fit. Yeah. At first, obviously, we was looking at, we could just have anybody in the scheme and make 10% on every sale, or give them 90% of the sale that we made. But they're not going to value it, so we charge them $2,000 a month to be in the scheme. Okay. That's the best way, I feel. Obviously, before they get any project, then our project manager will go and check the quality of their work and things like that. Yeah. So, I mean, we're improving this all the time. At first, it was, if we get a job, we'll take the commission and pass them on the project. Until a client's ready to send them $45,000 deposit, you actually want to check that they know what they're doing. Yeah. So, yeah, at first it was just brilliant, we'll make sales, and now it's, okay, we need to vet them properly. And yeah, so we've tested it and got a few of these projects to work. We know it works. Now it's just, let's go. Yeah, let's make it work.
Brilliant.
Very good. All right, final question.
No, I'll do this now.
Thank you.
Touché.
I might have missed it in the numbers you were sharing, but you said you converted 12% of those sales calls to getting the design done, which then you'd start charging £6,000. Out of those 12%, how many then did you then convert to actually doing the work?
50% is what we aim for. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's less. Around 50% become a full build project for us.
So what's your new idea going to be to convert the 50% you're not converting? Where are they going to go?
Good question.
He doesn't need more ideas, Jack. In fact, I refer you to your comment this morning. It's completing the idea you already have. But
there is an idea.
That's a good question.
I'm always looking.
Because that's almost where I am with what I'm doing. So we do well, but there's an upscale. We need to be doing, because what we're being told is what we're doing is great, but people want more interaction with what we're doing and a more bespoke program. So it's like, okay, so I was wondering of what you'd had an idea to see if I could, nothing better than borrowing somebody else's idea, is there?
I see the...
Yeah.
I see the 50% that we're not converting as a bit of an opportunity for retention of our clients, because we can just send it to them to price. And as long as they're getting big projects to have a look at and price, they're going to be happy because they don't get many of those. So one of the USPs with our program is we can pretty much turn any landscaper into a high-end design company overnight, because they plug into, you know, all of our marketing and our design. So.
And the lesson there, I think, is you've got assets in your business that you perhaps, we take it for granted or we underappreciate because we've got used to that's our particular zone of genius. Now, that might be marketing, it might be the sales process, it might be something operationally, it might be, you know, logistics, it might be the whole host of components that it could be. And how could that be utilized? So the thing that you're taking for granted is somebody else's biggest problem. Right? So there are opportunities, whether it be by licensing that out, whether it be via partnership, whether it be by, you know, monetizing the unconverted leads internally or externally, as long as you say compliant, right? Just to stimulate ideas. There's always a risk, right? There's always a downside risk, because if you look at some of the big conglomerates in food or beer or things, it's kind of like you look on the shelf and you've got all these different brands, but they've got the same parent company. So, you know, it's obvious to me that if you've got 50% converted, 50% unconverted, you kind of go, well, okay, you can sell them to other contractors externally, or you can have your own other contracting company like Barry's got with his brother doing the smaller jobs, right? But there is a risk of sometimes we then get a diffuse focus. And actually, sometimes the answer is spread, diversify, to capitalize. Sometimes it's like, no, just double down on this thing and increase that 12% to 16, 18%, and that's where you'll make the money. And that's...
It's always going to be there as well, isn't it? So it's just a focus thing. That 50% is not going to go away. If anything, it might become 60 or 75. There'll probably be, as Dan said earlier, a critical mass point where you say, actually, now I need to start looking at it because I'm giving away more than I'm getting. But at this point, it's just proving that concept like all over. I got our sales guys to update the members last week, and we've got £6 million worth of build work in design at the moment out of our area. Right. And if we got it all, we won't, but if we got it all and we take our 10%, it's all bottom line.
Yeah, right, the commission's bottom line. Yep, I like it a lot. Right, that's all we've got time for now, so give it up for Barry Randall. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed that episode. 3 things you need to do now. Number 1, make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you do not miss an episode. Also, get on over to Amazon to get a copy of my latest book, Turnover is Vanity, Profit is Sanity, 9.5 steps to improving your profits and cash flow. Also, join our Facebook group, the Turnover is Vanity, Profit is Sanity community, to connect with other business owners.